The village of Nyanyero stirs with a strange unrest. The air is thick with unease as the sun rises over the horizon, casting an unnatural glow. Birds stop their songs, and the wind holds its breath. Something ancient stirs deep beneath the ground, a force that has remained dormant for generations. The elders exchange nervous glances as the village begins to feel the tremor of a distant, unseen presence. A sudden quake rocks the earth. The ground shivers, sending ripples through the dirt. But it is the statue in the village center that captures everyone's attention. It trembles violently, as if something from within is trying to break free. A low, resonant hum rises from its stone body, a sound that feels like it is vibrating the very air. The villagers fall silent, their eyes wide with fear, as the statue, ancient and revered, begins to stir in ways no one thought possible. Jumah, the young hunter, stands apart from the gathering crowd. He watches the elders with suspicion in his eyes. The tremors have unsettled him, but it is the hum from the statue that unnerves him most. He's heard stories of the power it holds, but never did he believe the tales of its true nature. Now, seeing the stone shudder and hearing the hum that fills the air, his doubt grows into a creeping fear. Something has gone terribly wrong, and Jumah cannot shake the feeling that the earth itself is warning them. Among the villagers there are whispers, soft, furtive murmurs that slither between the crowd. The elders are hesitant, their eyes darting nervously. Some say the statue's power has been misused, that greed has tainted the sacred balance that has kept their people safe for so long. These murmurs of betrayal grow louder, infecting the villagers with doubt. One by one they look to the elders, their eyes searching for answers. But the elders remain tight-lipped, their faces pale and unwilling to speak of the shadows growing around them. Mariama, Jumah's childhood friend, steps forward with a worried look in her eyes. She has always been in tune with the land, feeling its pulse beneath her feet, its whispers in the wind. Now, standing before the statue, she sees something no one else notices, something emerging from the base of the stone. A crack, deepening and widening, reveals a dark, swirling energy beneath the surface. It pulses with a force that is not of the earth, and Mariama's voice trembles as she whispers her fears. "Something is waking," she warns, "and it's not of our ancestors." Mariama's warning strikes Jumah to the core. He steps closer to the statue, his heart racing. The ground shakes beneath him again, stronger now, and he can feel the earth itself groan in protest. The statue hums louder, almost as if it is calling to him. He looks to Mariama, and the fear in her eyes matches his own. The question lingers, in the air. Have they angered the statue? Or is something more sinister at play, something that has been waiting for this very moment to emerge? Jumah knows one thing for sure. It is no longer just a relic of the past. It is alive. Protect their village, their land, their traditions. The elders have taught him the importance of honoring the past, but now he wonders if that trust has led them astray. Could they have been too blind, too complacent in their reverence? He feels the weight of his ancestors' gaze upon him, as if the very spirit of the land is holding him accountable. The consequences of neglecting tradition are not distant. They are here, now, in the form of the statue that trembles with an unnatural power. The statue hums louder, almost deafening in its intensity, and its cracks grow wider, revealing a darkness that seems to breathe. The villagers, once reverent, now cower in its presence, their hearts heavy with fear. But Jumah sees something else, something more urgent. The statue is not asking for offerings, it is demanding them. The land has tasted blood, and it wants more. The air grows thick, and the once vibrant village falls into an unnatural silence. All eyes are on the stone figure as it demands more than anyone is willing to give. Jumah's mind races as he pieces together the fragments of his thoughts. Could the village have been feeding this force for centuries? The statue was never just a symbol. It was a vessel, a conduit for something darker, something that thrives on control. The elders had always spoken of it with reverence. But now Jumah wonders if they've been blind. Was it the land they were honoring, or the power that grew beneath their feet? The truth comes crashing down upon him. What they had once called sacred might now be the very thing that threatens to consume them all. As tensions mount, Jumah's mind grows clear. He has seen the path ahead, the one that leads to destruction, the one that leads to surrender. But there is another way. He realizes that the true danger does not lie with the statue alone, but with what has been hidden within it for generations. They have allowed it to fester, to grow, and now they must face its price. The elders' hesitation, their silence. It has cost them. The price of disobedience is no longer a distant concept. It is here, in the form of a dark power rising from the earth itself. Jumah stands tall, facing the villagers. The truth is out, and the time for hesitation is over. The village must confront this power, or it will be swallowed whole. "We cannot wait any longer," he calls out, his voice firm with resolve. "We must act now, or everything we have known will be lost." The villagers look to him, uncertainty in their eyes, but Jumah knows what must be done. The future of their village, their ancestors, and the land itself depends on it. There is no turning back now. The final decision has been made. Jumah sits quietly as the evening fires crackle, the shadows of the past whispering through the flickering flames. His grandmother's voice echoes in his mind, deep and powerful as she told him the story of the statue, of how it had been brought to their village centuries ago by the great ancestors. The statue was no mere carving. It was said to hold the spirits of the land, the protectors of the village, keeping all evil at bay. It was their source of life, and they honored it with offerings and reverence. But now, Jumah wonders, if the story is only that, a story, and if it's no longer enough to protect them. For generations, the elders have kept the ritual alive. Every harvest, the village offers the statue fruits, grain and livestock, symbols of gratitude for the protection. It offers, but this year something feels different. The statue no longer seems content with the simple gifts. Its cracks grow wider with each passing day, as if its hunger is never satisfied. Jumah watches the elders prepare for another offering. But this time. A lingering doubt settles in his chest. Has the statue grown too powerful? Or is it that the elders' faith has faltered? The village, once prosperous and full of life, is beginning to wither. Crops are failing, and animals are sick. Whispers of famine and misfortune stir among the villagers. But it is the darker forces at play that frighten Jumah the most. Greed begins to take root. The land that once belonged to all is now being fought over. Jealousy and ambition tear at the community's fabric. The elders grow older, their strength fading, while younger villagers, eager for power, challenge their authority. Traditions begin to crumble under the weight of desire. The statue, once revered, now seems to be a burden, an anchor dragging the village deeper into chaos. Naomi, one of the village's most respected elders, is the first to voice her concern. She no longer believes in the statue's power. Her once unwavering faith has cracked, and she wonders aloud if the statue has begun to demand more than it is willing to give. Her words cause an uproar among the villagers, dividing them. Some rally behind Naomi, questioning the village's long-held beliefs. Others call her foolish, accusing her of blasphemy. Jumah feels the tension rise like a storm in the distance. Naomi's words have opened a wound that cannot easily be closed, and the village is left to wonder if they have been serving the statue, or if the statue has been serving them. Jumah stands at the edge of the village, watching the elders argue. His heart pounds in his chest. He feels the villagers' pain deep in his bones. He knows something must change. But what? Tradition, the very thing that has kept them safe, now seems to be their prison. The elders are divided, and the youth no longer respect their authority. Jumah senses a conflict brewing, one that could tear the village apart. The weight of history presses heavily on his shoulders, and with it, the fear that his people may no longer be able to stand together. Mariama finds Jumah by the river, her eyes wide with concern. "The rumors are spreading," she says, her voice low, almost fearful. "Outsiders are coming, strangers who seek the power of the statue for themselves. They've heard of its strength, of its hold over the village, and they want it." Jumah shakes, his head, dismissing it at first. "They are just stories," he says. "No one can control the statue." But Mariama's urgency is undeniable. Her words carry weight, and as she speaks, a chill runs through Jumah's spine. What if there is truth to her warning? What if the outsiders are already closer than they think? Jumah doesn't want to believe. He has seen no evidence of outsiders, no strange faces, no wandering strangers who seek the village's power. It all seems far-fetched to him, the talk of outsiders and danger. But as Mariama's urgency grows, Jumah starts to feel a nagging doubt. Could they truly be coming for the statue? Could something darker than they have ever known be about to invade their home? He doesn't know, but his instincts tell him something is shifting, something that goes beyond the village's internal struggle. Jumah's thoughts grow heavy as he returns to the statue, feeling its weight more than ever. What if the statue's violent response to the village's discontent isn't just about their internal strife? What if the statue, the very thing they have placed their faith in, has been feeding on their suffering, growing stronger with every sacrifice? The cracks in the stone deepen, and the hum from within becomes a growl, like a beast waking from a long slumber. Jumah now realizes, perhaps the statue is not just a protector. Perhaps it is the very thing that has been feeding on the village's life force, slowly consuming them. The village is on the brink. The elders argue louder now, some demanding more sacrifices, others calling for the statue to be destroyed. The younger generation grows restless, questioning the value of the traditions they have inherited. Jumah stands in the middle, torn between the old ways and the new. He knows the statue's power is real, but so is the village's hunger for something more, something that could lead them to ruin. The pressure mounts with each passing day. The villagers are no longer united by belief, but divided by fear and greed. Jumah knows he must act. He cannot stand by as the village fractures beyond repair. The truth about the statue, about the power it holds, is out there now, and he must face it. There is no easy answer. He feels the weight of his ancestors' expectations upon him, their voices urging him to honor the past. But Jumah knows that the past may no longer serve them. He must decide, destroy the statue, which may destroy their very history, or find another way to break the cycle of suffering and greed. Either way, the decision will change everything. The time to act is now, and Jumah is ready to face whatever comes next. The village is thick with unease. The statue, once their protector, now seems to demand more with every passing day. Its cracks widen, and its hunger grows insatiable. Fear spreads like wildfire. Some say the offerings are not enough. Others whisper that the statue is turning against them. As the tension builds, the villagers debate fiercely. Should they offer more? or stop altogether. Some fear the consequences of both. The air hums with uncertainty, and every eye turns toward the elders, waiting for a sign, a decision. But the elders too are divided, each harboring their own doubts. What once seemed a sacred tradition now feels like a curse. Among the elders, Naomi, once a pillar of wisdom, has grown distant. She no longer participates in the offerings. She no longer speaks openly about the statue. Instead, she seeks solace, in quiet corners confiding only in those few she trusts. Her avoidance is not unnoticed. Rumors begin to spread about her shifting loyalties. She no longer believes in the statue's power, they say. Some claim that her faith has broken, and with it, her leadership. The village is watching closely, waiting for her to make a decision. But Naomi remains silent, an unwilling witness to the unraveling of the village. Jumah, ever observant, catches sight of Naomi and Kofi in the dead of night, their voices sharp in the darkness. Naomi's words are low, almost too quiet to hear, but Kofi's anger is unmistakable. The ambitious young elder is pressing Naomi for something. Answers, perhaps, or permission for something far more dangerous. Jumah can't make out every word, but it is clear that something is brewing in the shadows. Kofi, full of youthful zeal, speaks with conviction, while Naomi's tone is cautious, almost fearful. There is a tension between them, a struggle for control, and Jumah senses that they are on the edge of something perilous. Alliances are shifting, and he knows this is just the beginning. Mariama finds Jumah alone by the river, her eyes filled with urgency. Naomi knows something, she says, her voice low. Something she isn't telling anyone. Her words strike Jumah like a bolt of lightning. He's heard the rumors, but Mariama's warning feels different, more real. What does she know? Jumah asks, though he already feels the weight of her silence pressing against him. Follow her, Mariama urges, her eyes narrowing with fear. If you truly want to understand what is happening, you must see for yourself. There is more to the statue than we've been told. Jumah hesitates, but the doubt in Mariama's voice ignites something inside him. He knows she speaks truth, and he feels the pull of fate drawing him into the heart of the mystery. The moon rises high, casting shadows over the land as Jumah and Mariama track Naomi's movements. Their footsteps are light, but their hearts are heavy with anticipation. They follow her down the winding path to the lake, the place where the statue was unearthed long ago. The lake is calm, but something in the air feels wrong, charged as if the very earth beneath their feet is holding its breath. Naomi stands at the water's edge, staring into the darkness, her silhouette faint against the night. She speaks softly, her voice barely a whisper. Jumah and Mariama draw closer, but they stop, not daring to make a sound. They have found her, but they have not yet learned the truth. Naomi turns to face the two of them, her eyes wide with a mixture of fear and resolve. You shouldn't be here, she warns, her voice sharp. But Jumah steps forward, unafraid. We know something is wrong, he says. The statue, it's not protecting us anymore, is it? Naomi hesitates, then sighs, the weight of her years catching up with her. No, she admits. It's no longer the protector it once was. Something darker is at play. The statue is being manipulated, and I've seen the signs. It has become a weapon, not a shield. Jumah feels the ground beneath him shift. The statue, once the symbol of their strength, is now a tool of destruction. His mind races. Who could be controlling it? What do they want? Jumah presses Naomi for more answers, his desperation growing. Who is behind this? He demands. What are they planning? Naomi steps back, her eyes dark with warning. You must understand, Jumah. It's not just the statue. There are forces at work here, forces beyond our comprehension. There are hands we cannot see, moving in the dark. She speaks in riddles, but the weight of her words is clear. Jumah feels a chill spread through him. Whoever is controlling the statue is powerful, and they are not acting for the good of the village. Then we must stop them, Jumah says, his voice steady but filled with urgency. Naomi's eyes flicker with doubt, but she says nothing. As the last words leave Naomi's lips, the ground trembles beneath their feet. The earth shakes violently, and the hum from the statue grows louder, deeper, almost a growl now. The sky darkens, as if the very heavens are reacting to the awakening of this ancient power. Jumah stumbles, his heart racing. The statue's influence is no longer contained. It is spreading, growing stronger by the minute. The village is in danger. Whatever is controlling it is pushing the statue to its limit, and the destruction that follows will be unimaginable. Jumah knows they have no time left. They must act, and act quickly, or the village will fall into ruin. Jumah's mind whirls with the enormity of what they face. The stakes are higher than ever before. He can feel the weight of the village's future on his shoulders, and he knows that the time to act is now. If they cannot stop the manipulation of the statue, the village will be lost. We must find who is behind this, Jumah says, his voice hard with resolve. We must stop them before it's too late. Naomi nods, her expression grim. It's not just about the statue, she murmurs. It's about saving the soul of the village. Jumah knows she's right. The statue may be powerful, but it is the village that must survive. The rumbling of the earth grows louder, and Jumah knows that the time to act is slipping away. The statue's power is intensifying with each passing moment. The village is at the brink of collapse, and he has no answers, only questions. Who is pulling the strings? Why? The villagers grow restless, their fear mounting as they await a decision. Jumah knows that he has no choice but to uncover the truth. The clock is ticking, and if he doesn't act now, the village will be lost to the forces that seek to control the statue for their own gain. The whispers grow louder by the day, creeping into every corner of the village. The peaceful rhythm of life has fractured, replaced by an undercurrent of fear and distrust. Betrayal hangs in the air like smoke, and dark secrets twist their way through the hearts of the villagers. The elders, once the voice of reason, are now divided, their unity shattered. Some speak of the statue's growing hunger, others of the strange occurrences that have plagued the village since its return. Whatever had once been a symbol of protection is now a source of terror. The village, once united, is crumbling, torn apart by the very force that was meant to keep them safe. Jumah, Mariama, and Naomi stand before the statue, their hearts heavy with the weight of their discoveries. They've learned the truth. The statue is not a simple relic, nor is it a protector. It is a vessel, a conduit for dark forces that have been manipulating the land's very energy. The statue pulses with an unsettling energy, feeding off the fear and conflict that now consumes the village. It was never meant to protect us, Naomi whispers, her voice trembling. It's been using us, feeding off our pain. The revelation hits like a blow. The village has been sacrificed to power something far darker than they could have imagined. Jumah's heart sinks as the pieces of the puzzle fall into place. Kofi, the young, ambitious elder, has been working with an outside faction, an enemy hidden in the shadows. one who seeks to control the land's energy for their own gain. Kofi was never on our side, Jumah mutters, his voice low. He's been using the statue's power to fuel his ambitions. Mariama's eyes narrow. He's been plotting our downfall all along. Kofi's betrayal is as deep as it is dangerous. He has sold out his own people, choosing power over loyalty, and now the village must pay the price for his greed. The storm rages above, a reflection of the chaos that has gripped the village. Jumah, Naomi, and Mariama stand before the statue, the air thick with the tension of a final showdown. Kofi approaches, flanked by his followers, loyal to him, yet blind to the destruction he has set in motion. "This ends tonight," Jumah declares, his voice steady. "You will answer for your betrayal." Kofi smiles, his arrogance on full display. "You think you can stop me?" He sneers. "You're too late." The winds howl around them, the statue's hum growing louder as it feeds on the rising conflict. The stage is set for a battle that will decide the fate of the village. Jumah steps forward, his eyes locked on Kofi. "Surrender now, Kofi," he demands. "End this madness before it's too late." His voice is firm, filled with the weight of all that is at stake. But Kofi's laughter echoes in the wind, mocking him. "You dare challenge me?" Kofi's voice is thick with the power he believes he controls. "I hold the power of the statue itself. You cannot stop me." But Jumah does not falter. He knows that the statue, powerful as it is not a force to be wielded by one man. "You don't control it," Jumah says, his voice steady. "It controls you." The winds pick up, swirling around them, and the storm above grows more violent. Kofi's laughter dies, replaced by a deep, resonant hum as the statue pulses with energy. "You think you understand power?" Kofi spits, his eyes flashing with madness. "The statue is mine to command. It feeds off the land, and with it, I will have everything I ever wanted." His words are filled with such arrogance that the air itself seems to crackle with his belief in his invincibility. "You are nothing," Kofi sneers. "Just a fool standing in the way of destiny." But as Kofi steps closer to the statue, the ground trembles. The villagers watch in horror as the storm intensifies, the sky above darkening further. Kofi has no idea what he's truly unleashed. The village erupts into chaos. Kofi's followers, armed with rage and the promise of power, clash with Jumah, Mariama, and Naomi's supporters. The battle is frantic, desperate, a fight for survival, for control, for the soul of the village. The statue hums louder with every blow, its energy feeding off the conflict, amplifying the chaos. Jumah fights with everything he has, his every move driven by the knowledge that the fate of his people rests on his shoulders. But the statue's power is too much, its energy seeping into the land, turning the tide in Kofi's favor. "We need to stop the statue!" Mariama cries, but the words are almost lost in the madness of the battle. The storm above grows more violent, as if the land itself is reacting to the destruction below. As the battle rages on, Jumah begins to understand the full scope of the situation. The storm above is not just a sign of nature's fury. It is a reflection of the statue's power, a power that has reached its breaking point. The land itself trembles beneath their feet, as if the earth is crying out for release. Jumah's breath catches in his throat. The statue is not merely a vessel of energy. It is the very heartbeat of the land, and its power comes with a deadly price. The storm is a warning. Unleash too much, and it will destroy everything. The villagers are fighting not just for control of the statue, but for the survival of their land. The statue's energy surges, and Jumah realizes with a sinking heart that the cost of victory may be too great. "We cannot let this continue," he says, his voice low. "To stop Kofi is to risk everything." Mariama looks at him, her eyes filled with sorrow. "What are we willing to sacrifice?" she asks, her voice trembling. Jumah feels the weight of her question. The village's destruction may be the only way to stop Kofi, and yet, destroying the statue may doom them all. The storm howls above, and Jumah knows that every moment they delay is a moment closer to the land's undoing. They have no choice but to act, but the consequences of their actions will echo for generations to come. The storm breaks overhead, its fury unleashing in, a final deafening roar. The statue pulses with energy, its power reaching a peak that threatens to consume everything in its path. Jumah steps forward, his resolve hardening. He knows what must be done. The battle is not just about stopping Kofi. It is about preventing the land from being destroyed. "It ends here," Jumah declares, his voice unwavering. With a final desperate strike, he forces the statue to release its energy, breaking the hold it has on the land. But the cost is too great. The statue shatters, its power unleashed in one final burst, ripping through the earth. The storm rages, and Jumah knows that the price they paid was one that will never be forgotten. Blood has been spilled, and the land has been forever changed. But for the village to survive, it had to be done. The storm clears, leaving only silence in its wake. The storm is gone, but the silence feels heavier than the roar of the winds. The land, once trembling with fury, now lies still, as if holding its breath. The statue stands in the center of the village, silent and unmoving, its power spent, but its dark presence lingering like a shadow. The villagers gather cautiously around it, their eyes filled with wariness. They had fought to break its grip on the land, but the peace that follows feels unnatural, fragile. The earth is quiet, but no one dares to trust it. The storm has passed, but its scars remain on the people. Kofi's reign of influence has shattered. His betrayal, once hidden in the shadows, is now exposed for all to see. The whispers about his alliance with dark forces no longer carry the weight of secrecy. He stands alone now, his supporters dwindling, his power stripped away. "The statue was never yours to command," someone mutters as Kofi walks through the village. The air is thick with contempt, and the once feared leader feels the sting of his fall. His eyes dart from face to face, searching for the loyalty he once commanded. But it's gone, swept away by his greed. The land turns its back on him, and he knows there's no going back. The consequences of his ambition will never let him forget the price he's paid. Even with Kofi defeated, the statue's thirst for power remains, a silent and ever-hungry force that cannot be quenched by the fall of one man. The villagers are uneasy, for the land is restless, as though the dark energy that had once coursed through the statue still lingers. "It is not enough," they murmur. The statue's presence feels heavier now, its silence ominous. Its power has been curtailed, but its appetite for destruction has not been fully sated. The village has won, but the land demands more. The cost of peace is yet to be paid, and everyone knows that the balance is fragile, too fragile to last long. Fear spreads, like wildfire. The darkness that Kofi had invited into the village still lingers, a threat that no one can fully escape. Some villagers, their hearts gripped by terror, decide to leave. "We cannot stay here," they say, packing what little they have. The land is tainted, they believe, corrupted by the greed and betrayal that have stained its very soul. The statue will never release its hold. one old woman whispers. "We are cursed." The exodus is quiet, but its impact is undeniable. Whole families abandon the village, unwilling to remain in a place where the shadows of the past refuse to fade. The land empties of its people, leaving behind only those who are too stubborn, too determined, or too desperate to leave. For those who remain, the darkness will not win. They stand together, defiant in their resolve to restore balance. "We will honor our ancestors," one elder says. "Their spirits still walk with us. We will restore what was lost." The villagers gather not in fear but in determination. They know that the statue cannot be destroyed, but they will make peace with it. They will reclaim the land's heart. It will not be easy. The road ahead is uncertain, but there is strength in their unity. The land is wounded, but they will heal it, just as they have healed themselves from the betrayals of the past. They will not let fear be their master. Jumah and Mariama stand alone before the statue, their hearts heavy with the weight of the sacrifices they've made. The village is no longer the place it was before Kofi's treachery, and they know that the scars will remain long after the last. Stone is placed in the new homes they're building. "What have we lost?" Mariama asks softly, her voice full of sorrow. Jumah doesn't have an answer. The statue stands before them, its power spent, but its history etched in every crack of the stone. "We've paid a great price," Jumah says quietly. "And it may never be enough. They've saved their people, but they've lost something. Something that can never be replaced." The rebuilding begins slowly. The villagers gather what remains, using the ashes of their past to forge a new future. They work hard, hands to the soil, hammering nails into new homes, planting new crops. But as they work, there is an unspoken tension in the air. Every sound, every movement is a reminder of what has been lost. The old fears do not vanish, and the whispers continue. "The statue still watches us," one elder murmurs as he picks up a shovel. "Is it truly gone?" But they continue, step by step, rebuilding their lives, even as the shadows of the past threaten to return. They are making progress, but they are haunted by the past. The land is scarred, and they are scarred with it. The land has changed, and so have the people. They are no longer the same villagers who had once lived in harmony, trusting in the land and the spirits that protected them. The darkness has touched them all, and its mark will never fade. "We are not the same," Jumah admits as he walks alongside Mariama, their steps heavy on the earth. "We will rebuild, but we cannot forget what we have become. The villagers have changed, their spirits hardened by the trials they have faced. They no longer trust as easily, no longer believe in the same things they once did. The darkness has shaped them, and in some ways, it has strengthened them. But it has also broken something inside of them. They will move forward, but they will never be the same. The statue remains, standing still and silent at the heart of the village. It no longer pulses with dark energy, but its presence is just as powerful. The villagers pass by it every day, their eyes lingering on it for a moment too long. It is a reminder of what they have endured, of the cost of their survival. "We cannot forget it," one man says as he stands before the statue. "It will always be here, watching us." The statue has become both a symbol of peace and a warning, a reminder of the price they have paid for the land's energy and the dangers of the power it holds. The villagers have moved on, but the statue still watches them, a silent witness to the battle that changed everything. In the end, the village finds no easy answers. Kofi's ambition, the statue's hunger, it all came at a terrible cost. The power they fought for, and the power they fought against, has left them all scarred. The land is still, but it is not at peace. The statue may no longer stir with dark energy, but its legacy is imprinted on every soul that survived the battle. The price of power has been paid, but it was paid in silence. The storm has cleared, but the scars remain, unseen yet felt. The village moves forward, but the cost of their victory lingers in the air, unspoken yet ever present. The land has been forever changed, and so have they. Nyanyero's tale echoes through the village, a haunting reminder of what happens when power is used without wisdom. The elders speak of her, the woman who sought to rule the spirits and bend the land to her will. They say she could summon storms and call down fire, but she never stopped to listen to the earth. The land belongs to all, the elders say. To take more than is needed is to bring ruin to the soul of the land. Nyanyero's greed cost her everything, her people, her home, and her very life. The storm that raged through her village was not of nature's making, but fury, summoned by her own ambition. Now, her story serves as a warning, one that no one can afford to ignore. The village was once a place of harmony, a haven where people lived in tune with the earth and its spirits. The ancestors' wisdom flowed like a river, guiding them to live with respect for all things. But as the years passed, the thirst for power grew. The villagers started seeking control over the land, over the spirits, as if they could force nature into submission. The elders' teachings were forgotten, and the connection with the land grew weaker. No longer did they honor the trees or the rivers. No longer did they listen to the whispers of the wind. Instead, they began to take. And in their taking, they lost their way. The village became restless, its heart heavy with the burden of unchecked ambition. The people no longer understood the sacred balance that had once kept them. Strong Jumah and Mariama stand together before the statue, the symbol of the power that had consumed their village. They had fought to break its hold, but standing there now, they understand the lesson more clearly than ever. We thought power was strength, Jumah says softly, his gaze fixed on the stone. But strength comes from balance, not from control. Mariama nods, her heart heavy with the weight of truth. We took too much, she whispers. We tried to dominate the land, to force it into submission, but it cannot be forced. The weight of their failure settles in their bones. The land, the spirits, they must be respected, not conquered. They must live in harmony. The power they once sought was never theirs to claim, and now the land is demanding something from them, something they cannot ignore. The world is a delicate thing, Jumah and Mariama realize, a fragile balance held together by unseen threads. When greed pulls too hard, those threads snap, and everything falls apart. We cannot control everything, Mariama says, her voice firm with newfound wisdom. We cannot force the river to run dry, nor can we stop the rain from falling. We must live with it, not against it. Jumah feels the truth of her, words deep in his chest. The balance of life, spirit, and nature, once shattered by their own ambition, can be healed, but only if they respect it. The land is not a tool to be used. It is a partner, a living force that must be honored. In their pursuit of power, they had forgotten this. But now, as the earth's call grows louder, they understand. Harmony is not just a choice. It is a necessity. The land has tasted blood, and now it demands more. The earth is silent, but its call cannot be ignored. The trees stand tall, their branches heavy with the weight of years, and the rivers run deep, carrying the scars of greed. The villagers' hunger for control has left marks that cannot be erased. Now the land waits, patient but unyielding. The earth has its own ways, one elder whispers, eyes wide with fear. It will not forget. The ground trembles faintly beneath their feet, as if the very bones of the earth are shifting. The villagers are restless, their hearts pounding with unease. They cannot ignore the land's call. It is a demand, a reckoning. But how will they answer? Jumah and Mariama stand at the crossroads. The land is calling. But what will they do? Will they honor the lessons of the past? Or will they continue down the path of ambition and greed? The weight of the choice presses on them, and the silence around them feels suffocating. We cannot undo what has been done, Jumah says, his voice tight with the tension of the moment. But we can choose how we move forward. Mariama looks out at the village, at the people who have been torn apart by ambition, their unity shattered. We cannot return to the way things were, she says, but we can create something new. We can heal this land if we act together. The choice is clear, yet it feels impossible. They can't undo the damage, but they can choose the path of healing. The question remains, will they have the strength to choose it? The future of the village is at stake. The choice between restoring harmony with the earth and continuing down the path of domination will shape their world. The villagers gather, murmuring, the weight of the decision hanging in the air. We must restore the balance, one elder says, his voice grave. We must listen to the land, not force it to bend to our will. But another voice rises in opposition. What if the land is lost forever? They ask. What if we cannot heal it? Jumah and Mariama stand before the villagers, the weight of the decision heavier than ever. They know that if the wrong choice is made, it could be the end of their world. If they choose destruction, it will tear them apart. But if they choose harmony, they must be willing to sacrifice everything. The tension is unbearable. Their decision will determine the village's future. But it is not just their future. It is the future of the land, the spirits, and all who depend on it. Jumah and Mariama understand, perhaps more deeply than anyone else, the weight of the responsibility they bear. The fate of the village, the land, and the spirits rests on their shoulders. The land will not forgive us easily, Jumah says, his voice filled with the gravity of their task. But we must try. Mariama's heart aches with the realization that this is not just about their people. It is about restoring a balance that has been broken for far too long. It is not just about power, she says softly. It is about respect. Respect for the land, the spirits, and the ancestors who came before us. They stand together, the burden of their choice clear in their hearts. The weight is crushing, but they know what must be done. The future is in their hands, and they cannot afford to fail. The decision has been made. Jumah and Mariama, together with the villagers, choose to restore balance to the land. The elders lead the way, offering prayers to the spirits, asking for forgiveness, and vowing to live in harmony with the earth. The land responds, slowly at first, with the trees beginning to heal, the rivers running clearer. But there is still uncertainty. Will the land accept their offering, or is it too late? The future is uncertain, but for the first time in a long while, there is hope. The village begins to rebuild, not just with their hands, but with their hearts. They have chosen a path of healing, but the land's forgiveness is not easily won. The true test lies in their actions, and only time will tell if the land will be kind, or if it will forever hold their choices against them. The story ends, but its consequences are far from over.